you'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards, so I don't care anymore.
In 2020, Ricky Gervais walked out onto the Golden Globe stage in front of the most powerful room in Hollywood and told them all, on live television, that Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. The room went silent. Tom Hanks's face became one of the most discussed images on the internet, and Ricky Gervais didn't flinch. Now here's what's interesting. That moment wasn't a one-off. Ricky Gervais had been doing this for years, hosting the most powerful award show in entertainment and using every single appearance to point directly at the people in that room. Not randomly, specifically, by name, by behavior, by connection. At the time, most people called it brave comedy, edgy hosting, a man willing to say the unsayable for laughs. But look at those same names today. Ellen DeGeneres living quietly in the UK, Jay-Z and Beyoncé shedding millions of followers, Tom Hanks canceling public appearances and going silent, Oprah, the woman who spent decades making sure the whole world could hear her voice, suddenly very comfortable staying out of sight. Ricky Gervais wasn't performing, he was warning them. And everything he pointed at is unraveling right in front of our eyes. Today we go through it all. The moments, the names, the Epstein files and what they contain, and the pattern of behavior from Hollywood's most powerful figures that is very difficult to explain away. Everything in this video is clearly labeled: verified fact, court document, FBI filing, unverified allegation. You will always know which is which. Let's get into it. To understand why Ricky Gervais matters in this conversation, you have to understand what he was actually doing at those award shows. He has said in interviews that when he was first asked to host the Golden Globes, he made one condition clear: he would write his own jokes. No approved material, no safe list, no names he was told to avoid. And then he explained his logic. He was standing in a room with approximately 200 of the richest, most powerful people in the entertainment industry. And there were approximately 200 million people watching at home, people who weren't winning awards, who weren't millionaires, who weren't protected by the machine. His question to himself was simple.
They kept asking you back to do those awards, and the actual actors and actresses in the audience, they looked terrified at the idea of you mentioning their name. Did you feel that?
I did, and I noticed it the first time. I didn't get it. Like one of the first one I did it, people would come up and say, "What are you going to say about me?" I think, why do you care? Why do you care what I say about you? I don't know why they care.
Yeah.
I only go after their public behaviours. I don't, expose anything about them or nothing that bad.
But Ricky, did you, at the start of it, because we've never seen that before, we've never seen it since, you just going and hammering A-listers. What made you think, you know what, I'm just going to hammer them? I don't care what the...
Well, I thought, when they said, do you want to host the Golden Globes, all that stuff I said in the show was true. I said, I'm going to write my own jokes. Right? And I thought, who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room or the 200 million people watching at home who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires? And it was a no-brainer.
He chose the 200 million, every single time. And Joe Rogan, who understands better than most how truth moves through entertainment, said something important about what Gervais was actually doing.
Look, the idea that a guy actually had a fuck island. I mean,
that's what Ricky Gervais was joking about last night.
Did you watch that?
Of course he was. No, but I did see the one clip that somebody put on the internet about him saying, don't virtue signal, just come out here and get your little prize, go fuck off, because nobody cares about your opinion. I was like, thank you, Ricky, thank you. Thank God, that guy swings. He's out there swinging from the hip, chin up, doesn't give a fuck, telling it like it is.
Comedy as delivery mechanism for things that cannot be said directly. That is the framework. And once you understand that framework, every joke Gervais made at those shows looks completely different. The 2020 Golden Globes. Ricky Gervais walks out and within minutes says what nobody in that room wanted said out loud. Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. Then the line that has never left the internet. You like to fly on your own plane, didn't you? Good for you. Tom Hanks's reaction in that room became one of the most analyzed moments in recent awards show history. The expression on his face as Gervais delivered that joke has been screenshotted, discussed, and dissected across every platform for years. Now, let's be precise about what the Epstein files actually contain regarding Tom Hanks, because precision matters here. Documented. A 2013 email from Epstein's publicist, Peggy Siegel, who was herself a documented part of Epstein's social circle, references Tom Hanks by name in a communication sent to Epstein. The email was written 5 years after Epstein's 2008 conviction, meaning at the time of this communication, Epstein was a known, convicted offender. The context of the email suggests Hanks may have been in Epstein's social orbit at that time. Unverified claims circulating online suggest his name appears in additional documents in passing, not as a central figure, but in ways that suggest familiarity with those circles. These are unverified. We present them as claims only. What is documented is his behavior since the files began dropping. Tom Hanks has canceled a string of public appearances. No press runs, no major interviews, no red carpets. His team reportedly advised him to avoid events where audience members could ask questions, specifically in the context of the Epstein file releases. For a man whose entire public brand is built on warmth, accessibility, and being America's most beloved actor, that level of deliberate withdrawal is notable. His team has pushed back publicly, attributing his comments about the files to anti-Trump sentiment. But that explanation has not satisfied the people asking questions. The absence of a name in the currently visible files is not a clean bill of health. 70 to 80% of some documents remain redacted. We have not seen everything yet. What we haven't been shown is as significant as what we have. Always about DiCaprio's well-documented pattern of exclusively dating women under 25. The internet has made that pattern into a meme. But Gervais was not making a meme. He was circling something deliberately. Here is what the documented record shows. DiCaprio's name has appeared in the Epstein files. Not once, multiple times. The most widely discussed detail involves a reported attempt by Epstein to arrange a dinner between Leonardo DiCaprio and Woody Allen. That claim has been widely reported and discussed online. It has not been independently verified through a specific publicly released document we can cite directly. We present it as a widely circulating claim from the files discussion, not as established fact. DiCaprio has denied any personal relationship with Epstein. He has stated he never visited the island and never knew Epstein directly. That denial is on the record. But here is the context that makes people continue to ask questions. The files are still overwhelmingly redacted. The sections that have been released represent a fraction of the full document set. Could additional details about DiCaprio exist in the sealed or redacted portions? Possibly. We do not know. And in the current climate, we do not know is not the same as no. What we can observe is that DiCaprio, like several other names in this conversation, has maintained an unusually low public profile during the period of the file's release. Whether that means anything is something you will have to assess for yourself. Before we go further into specific names, let's establish clearly what the Epstein files actually are, because a lot of confusion exists about this. The Epstein files are a collection of court documents, FBI records, flight logs, and investigative materials connected to Jeffrey Epstein's federal case. They were ordered released as part of ongoing civil proceedings and DOJ declassification processes. Here is the critical context. 70 to 80% of significant portions of these documents remain either sealed or heavily redacted with large black marks covering names, locations, and details. When someone says a name is not in the Epstein files, that statement reflects only what is visible in the currently released, unredacted portions. It does not reflect the full document set. Epstein survivor Lisa Phillips has gone on record publicly stating she has her own list of names and is not afraid to disclose it.
For months, I had to avoid Jeffrey, but he told me that if I wanted to succeed as a Ford model, he could make it happen. And he was right. He introduced me to Katie Ford and many others in the entertainment business. His grip on the modeling business was undeniable. Not just the Ford family, but Victoria's Secret, Faith Cates, Jean-Luc Brunel, Victoria's Secret, Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion. He could make a model's career. What I didn't realize then was that once he lured someone like me in, he could also destroy my career if I did not do what he wanted me to do. In New York City, countless young women were abused by him. Everyone in the industry knew, yet he was too powerful to stop. He had friends in all over entertainment and arts, and his value to those friends made him untouchable. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? Transparency is justice. Release the files, end the secrecy, and stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law.
That is a sworn survivor speaking in public. That is not internet speculation. What the files have already produced, even in their partially redacted state, is enough to make some of the most powerful people in the world go very quiet. The question of what the remaining sealed portions contain is the one keeping certain names up at night. Ricky Gervais, in his observations about Hollywood insiders who know exactly what is happening and choose to say nothing, many people believe Oprah Winfrey was precisely the kind of figure he had in mind. Let's go through what is documented. Oprah Winfrey featured Brazilian spiritual healer João Teixeira de Faria, known as John of God, on her platform in 2013, describing his work as miraculous and bringing him to mainstream global attention. He was later convicted of sexually assaulting hundreds of women and girls, with some victims reportedly as young as 9 years old. His total sentence across multiple convictions reached approximately 118 years in prison. Oprah issued a brief statement saying she empathized with the women coming forward. No deeper public accountability followed. Oprah's professional and personal relationship with Harvey Weinstein is documented across years of photographs, events, and professional collaborations. After his crimes became public, she described being unable to find words adequate to the situation. Reports, denied by her spokesperson, suggested she contacted Weinstein after the story broke to offer advice. One of Weinstein's accusers, actress Katie Ann Noble, alleged in a lawsuit that Weinstein used Oprah's presence to establish credibility and lure her into a situation where she was later assaulted. Now, the Epstein connection. This is where we move into unverified territory, and we are being explicit about that. Claims have circulated online alleging that Epstein survivors have identified Oprah as what some have called a broker, someone allegedly involved in connecting young girls to Epstein and wealthy associates. These are unverified claims. They have not been substantiated in released court documents. We present them solely as claims that are actively circulating and being discussed. What is observable and verifiable is Oprah's behavior during the period of the file's release. The woman who spent decades ensuring the entire world could hear her voice has become remarkably quiet. No major public statements about the Epstein files. No use of her platform to address the allegations circulating about her. A deliberate, sustained withdrawal from the public conversation at precisely the moment her name keeps coming up in it.
Who said Epstein offered her money to have children. In that same discussion, people online have claimed there may be references connecting John of God, Epstein, and Oprah Winfrey. If any verified evidence were to confirm such connections, it would represent a major development involving 3 widely known figures connected to serious criminal cases. Through all of this attention, Oprah has remained extremely quiet.
That is one person's characterization. The documented pattern of associations, John of God, Weinstein, the questions now being raised about Epstein, is something the public is drawing its own conclusions about. Ricky Gervais was almost certainly watching that pattern long before the rest of us. Now let's talk about Jay-Z, because this one is specific and the numbers are hard to dismiss. Jay-Z and Beyoncé have reportedly lost approximately 10 million followers combined across their social media platforms in a relatively short period. 10 million. That is not a bad week. That is not an algorithm fluctuation. That is people actively, deliberately walking away from 2 of the biggest names in music history. What triggered it? The Epstein files contain what has been described as a 2019 FBI crisis intake report, a log of an anonymous tip call made to the FBI hotline that was archived within the broader Epstein investigation file. We need to be precise about what this document is and what it is not. This is not a sworn statement. It is not a court filing. It is a record of an anonymous phone call made to a tip line. With that clearly stated, here is what the call allegedly contained. An anonymous woman alleged that around 1996, she was abducted from her home and woke up in what she believed to be Epstein's Florida property. She alleged she was drugged, leaving her memory fragmented. And she alleged that when she regained consciousness, two people were present in the room: Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, Jay-Z. She alleged that while Jay-Z was present, Harvey Weinstein sexually assaulted her. This is an anonymous, unverified tip from a hotline call. It has not been corroborated. Jay-Z has not been charged with any crime related to this claim. We present it exactly as it exists in the public record, as an unverified allegation in an FBI intake log. Nothing more. What is not unverified is the follower drop. 10 million people making a deliberate choice about two of the most powerful figures in music, at the exact moment this document entered public conversation. Jay-Z's personal attorney Alex Spiro has also been reported appearing in the orbit of Diddy's legal proceedings, a connection we covered in depth in a previous video. Jay-Z has not publicly addressed any of the questions now circulating about his associations. In the current climate, that silence is being read, rightly or wrongly, as a deliberate choice. Jaguar Wright, in a widely discussed interview with Piers Morgan, made claims about Jay-Z and Diddy that she described as things she was not supposed to say publicly, calling both of them monsters and describing their combined influence as something that has been crushing the industry for decades. These are Jaguar Wright's unverified claims. Jay-Z has not been charged with any crime. The episode reportedly became difficult to find online very shortly after it aired. Now here is where Ricky Gervais's warnings connect to something observable happening right now in real time. A pattern of behavior among Hollywood's elite that is very hard to explain away. Richard Gere recently sold his large Connecticut compound, and sold it at a loss. A multimillionaire selling below market value. His team says he wants to be closer to his wife's family in Spain. That may be true, but the timing, closely aligned with the Epstein file releases, is the kind of coincidence people are no longer willing to accept at face value. Eva Longoria has been quietly reducing the price on her Beverly Hills property and relocating between Spain and Mexico. When wealthy people slash prices, it means they need to sell now, not eventually. Now. Rosie O'Donnell has moved to Ireland and made a public statement that she will never return to the United States. That is not a vacation. That is not a political statement about the administration. You do not say, "I am never coming back," unless something specific is driving that decision. Rosie O'Donnell has been a Hollywood insider for decades. She has been to the events. She knows the people. The question of what she knows about the files is one that her statement makes impossible to ignore. Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes have reportedly been exploring property in London. They have not left. But the fact that they are looking, at this particular moment in time, is the kind of signal that people who have been watching this story closely are noting. Now, we need to be fair here. People sell houses. People relocate. People move to Europe for 100 reasons that have nothing to do with federal investigations. We are not stating these moves are proof of anything. What we are observing is the pattern. Multiple high-profile individuals making similar financial and geographic decisions at the same time, during the period of the Epstein file releases. Patterns do not prove guilt, but they are worth examining honestly. Let's go back to where we started, because the through line of this entire video is not Epstein. It's not the files. It's not any individual name. It's the fact that one comedian stood in the most powerful room in Hollywood, repeatedly, and told them what was coming, and nobody could touch him for it, because he wrapped it in punchlines.
Public behaviours, I don't, expose anything about them or nothing that bad.
Nothing that bad. Said with a smile. to a room full of people who knew exactly what he was implying. That line, delivered in that room, was not about political speeches. It was about the gap between the image these people project publicly and what Gervais knew about who they actually were. Joe Rogan understood it. He said Gervais was the only person using one of entertainment's biggest platforms to tell the truth. Dressed up as entertainment, so it could get past the gatekeepers. And now, one by one, the names Gervais kept circling are going quiet, going overseas, or going defensive in ways that are raising more questions than they're answering. Here is where we land. The Epstein files are real. The releases are ongoing. 70 to 80% of significant sections remain redacted. What we have seen is a fraction of the full record. What we haven't been shown is as important as what we have. Tom Hanks's name in a 2013 email sent to Epstein, 5 years after Epstein's conviction. Leonardo DiCaprio's name appearing in the files with an alleged dinner arrangement involving Woody Allen. An anonymous FBI tip log naming Jay-Z in connection with Harvey Weinstein and Epstein's Florida property. Oprah's documented associations with 2 convicted predators, and the unverified claims now circulating about a third. 10 million followers walking away from Jay-Z and Beyoncé in real time. We have been clear throughout about what is verified and what is not. Court documents are labeled as such. Anonymous tips are labeled as such. Unverified claims are labeled as such. You have all the information. You decide what it means. What is not debatable is this. Ricky Gervais was in that room. He was watching. He was pointing. And he was doing it in the only language Hollywood couldn't punish him for: laughter. The people he pointed at are not laughing now. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.